YouTube, in the description, I provided a link to a story that I'm going to discuss today. And it's an issue that happened a couple of years back, but it was something that I wanted to kind of touch base on. And it was something that I kind of wanted to make a video about to kind of describe more in detail. And yes, good golly, would you look at the time? It's time to ridicule the fascist piece of shit leader that is running Brazil today and making Brazil a pariah on the world stage and destroying his country domestically and internationally. What's up, everybody? It's Zach the Celtics guy here. I'm back with another video, and time to mock more right-wing assholes and to mock more neocon pieces of shit. And yes, our favorite we're going to discuss today, Jair Bolsonaro, the fascist tyrant running Brazil right now, and is fumbling on the world stage, tanking in popularity at home, embarrassing his country abroad. But the issue that I'm going to discuss today is just too funny, but at the same time, it's pathetic. Because it's just so typical of what this moron has done and said before on so many occasions that I have discussed a lot on this channel. And we've discussed this psychotic piece of shit on this channel quite a number of times before. And I've even referenced this incident a few times when discussing Jair Bolsonaro in third person and third parties and so on and so forth. But today, I'm making an actual video on the issue. The time that Jair Bolsonaro took on Norway, when the country of Norway, the Western European social democracy, one of the most prosperous countries throughout the world, decided that they were going to stop aiding and abetting Jair Bolsonaro's fascist regime. And yes, he took on Norway and got ridiculed worldwide in the process. And watching him get fucking humiliated on Twitter and internationally and amongst his own people was absolutely hilarious. So basically, what Jair Bolsonaro did, this might be the lowest point for him on the world stage. Because it's actually funny, because I've discussed this issue with a few people. Several of my friends I've discussed this issue with. I've discussed this even with my mom. When I see my mom every now and again, because I live on my own now, obviously. Whenever I see her, she knows I'm kind of interested in world affairs and whatnot. So I tell her what's going on in the news and whatnot, some stuff going on in the news, because she knows that this is an interest of mine. And I told her this, and she was just like, who fights with Norway? And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Who the fuck would fight with Norway? Norway, one of the most peaceful, prosperous countries in the world. Jair Bolsonaro's fascist dictatorial regime is going to fight with them. Basically because Norway cut aid to them, cut funding to an Amazon fund after Jair Bolsonaro started ramping up deforesting and destroying the Amazon rainforest in the process. Because he's a climate change denier, he's an extremist, he's a right-wing tyrant and a fascist, and he's also a warmonger. So there's all sorts of things about Jair Bolsonaro that I despise because he's a right-wing extreme fucking dingbat shit. He's a dingbat and he's batshit fucking crazy. So the issue with Jair Bolsonaro in this scenario is this. So basically, many countries abroad, before Jair Bolsonaro got in and started destroying his own country, before this happened, many countries were paying the Brazilian government's Amazon fund to protect the Amazon rainforest as part of an agreement. And Norway was actually the biggest fund donor to Brazil. Norway was the biggest funder to Brazil as far as this goes, including in trade and all that too. But in August of 2019, when Jair Bolsonaro started ramping up, deforesting, and he proved that he was a fascist, climate change denying, corrupt asshole, not only did Norway cut fund to them, but so did France and so did Germany. What did Jair Bolsonaro do? He basically responded like his fucking martyr Donald Trump would. You know how Trump screams and fucking hollers about fake news and everything else. And yes, that's what Jair Bolsonaro did, because he's basically a mini version of him. He's a fucking toxic mix between Trump and Rick Santorum. Like I said, he's Rick Santorum without manners. He's like Trump as far as the lack of manners goes, and he's like Rick Santorum as far as his bigotry and fascism goes. But that's a whole nother point. So basically, Norway provided Brazil with all these funds for the Amazon rainforest. So it's basically like, dude, you're breaking the agreement, so therefore we're going to cut funding to you because you're breaking our agreement. So Norway basically said, fuck you, we ain't going to give you any more money. We're not going to give you money, we're not going to give you any more. Because you're a fucking moron. Number one, you're breaking the agreement. And number two, we're not going to aid and abet the fascist regime running Brazil. We're not going to be like fucking Trump, because Trump was president at the time of the U.S., basically like, we're not going to be like Trump's idiotic regime and back you and kiss your fucking ass. So we're going to take actual leadership on this issue, and we're going to cut funding, and we're basically going to tell you to go fuck yourself. That's what Norway did in this scenario. So yeah, if you're fighting with a peaceful democracy like Norway, then you've got a fucking problem on the world stage. But why wouldn't Jair Bolsonaro have a problem with Norway? He has a problem with everybody. Anybody who is even more moderate than him, he has a problem with. He even has a fucking problem with Joe Biden, of all fucking people. Because even Joe Biden's not giving him the time of day. So like I said before, to any of my right-wing, to any of my more right-wing or right-leaning or conservative audience, you guys gotta hear this out. If Joe Biden isn't giving him the time of day, you know there's a problem. And yeah, there is a problem. So a couple articles based on this incident. So basically, so what did he do? He fucking screamed and hollered and ranted and raved, and he made up libel and slander about Norway. He tried to insult Norway, but he fucking fumbled on the issue. He said in response, quote, "Look at the killing of whales sponsored by Norway." Basically saying, who are they to cut funding to my country when they're the country killing whales? Look at the killing of whales sponsored by Norway, Bolsonaro wrote on Twitter. The post includes a video and photographs of a spectacular whale hunt where mammals in the shallow waters of the bay are slaughtered by people waiting on shore, armed with hook knives. The whales turns the waters red. However, the images reportedly taken on May 29 in Norway illustrate a grind, a type of pilot whale hunt practiced exclusively in the Faroe Islands, a Danish territory in the North Atlantic, also a part of Denmark. Norway is one of the few countries in the world that authorizes commercial whaling, but the whales are hunted individually, at sea from a ship, and with grenade-mounted harpoons. So, Norway responded to Jair Bolsonaro's fucking bullshit claim. Quote, "We can confirm that the video/posts are not from Norway," the Norwegian Fisheries Ministry told AFP in an email. "Our whale hunt takes place from the ships at sea," end quote. He said, arguing that the Norwegian practice was, quote, "sustainable." Bolsonaro was ridiculed on social media for the mix-up. Quote, said one Twitter user, "Ha, what a stupid president Brazil has. This is not from Norway. We don't kill whales like that. Do your homework to get respected. Fake news, as Trump would have said," wrote one Twitter user. "False information is a crime, Mr. President," wrote another. Bolsonaro has been taking digs at Norway since the country announced that it, like Germany, was blocked 30 million euros, approximately 33 million US dollars, on subsidies to Brazil, accusing it of turning its back on the fight against deforesting, and so on and so forth. He reacted angrily. Norway isn't that the country that kills whales up there at the North Pole and that produces oil too? This is not at all a role model to us. Let them keep their money and let them help Angela Merkel reforce Germany, he said, end quote. Yeah, you dumb motherfucker. I think you missed the point. Like, I despise this motherfucker. Okay, number one, I'm sure Norway would be more than happy to give money to Angela Merkel, because no matter what anyone wants to say about Angela Merkel, the former Chancellor of Germany, who was Chancellor at the time of this incident, pretty sure they'd be more than happy to give money to her because she's not fucking up the planet and she's not destroying her own woodlands and forests in Germany, last time I checked. So no, Mr. Bolsonaro. the criticism and the humiliation that you are getting is completely and totally deserved, and you're triggered as shit about it, and you continue to be triggered about it to this day, and I'm loving it. I discussed an issue like a couple weeks ago on this channel about how Bolsonaro was embarrassing Brazil at the United Nations, making an ass of himself. Classic Bolsonaro style. He's getting ridiculed on the world stage. And yes, it's hilarious to watch because it's funny to see this fucking moron get what he deserves. But it's also, I feel for the people of Brazil who have to deal with this fucking right-wing dingbat. So yeah, I feel bad for them. I feel bad for Brazilians, and I hope they make this scumbag a one-term president, but that's besides the point. So yeah, Bolsonaro basically took on Norway, and he got ridiculed worldwide for it, and even Norway's, like, gaming and fishery committee, or like whatever it is, some kind of like service or department, like fisheries and gaming services and whatever, basically told Bolsonaro, dude, how can we put this? You're kind of full of shit. So yeah, Bolsonaro is basically, he's a scumbag. He's a fascist, and he's a tyrant, and he's a psychopath. He's a lunatic. He's a lunatic. He's an embarrassment to ordinary Brazilians. He's an international laughingstock, and he's the type of person on the world stage, like Donald Trump, that can dish it but can't take it. Let's just hope. And this is just a classic example. This isn't even the piece of the pie. This is like not even the tip of the iceberg of just how bad Bolsonaro has been as far as foreign relations. Now, Trump isn't in office anymore because we Americans made him a fucking one-term president for obvious reasons. Let's hope Brazilians make him a one-term president, and that way Brazil can return to the community of nations and return to the respected nation that they once were under President Lula da Silva, and even Dilma Rousseff had more fucking respect than this asshole. But let's just hope that. But if you want to talk about corrupt leaders, you don't look to Lula or to Dilma. You look at fucking morons like Trump and Bolsonaro and idiots like that. So basically, that's pretty much all I wanted to say today. So anyway, thank you all for listening. I know I've mentioned this issue a couple times before on this channel, but I figured I kind of referenced it in third person, like in my previous videos on this motherfucker. But I figured I'd actually make a video about it because it was very close to my heart, and I have a very big interest in that region, also in the Nordic region as well. I also study those regions. So I thought this was an interesting topic that I wanted to discuss today, and that's why I brought it up, because to see Bolsonaro get bitch slapped by Norway and other community of nations made me laugh. So that's why I decided I wanted to talk about it. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. I'll be back with more videos soon and a whole bunch of other stuff in the works. Stay tuned to find out more videos on the way. This is Zach the Celtics guy saying thank you for watching. I'll see you all again soon, and I'll see you all again in the next video. Bye for now. Peace out, and have a good one. See you later.